Martin Scorsese is returning to the crime genre with a long-gestating project about Hawaii's only known mob boss, Wilford Nappy Pulawa, and his script, 95% complete, may finally bring the story of 1970s underworld power to the screen in a Goodfellas-style blaze of violence and local color. The film, which sources say has been developing for years, marks a rare deep dive into organized crime outside the Italian, American, and Irish mobs that dominate Hollywood's gangster canon. But beyond the director's reputation, the project raises questions about how Hawaii's history of organized crime intersects with its modern identity and why this story matters now. Pulawa, a 41-year-old former boxer turned racketeer, became Hawaii's first and only documented mob boss in the 1970s, operating out of Honolulu with ties to the Chicago outfit and Las Vegas casinos. But unlike his mainland counterparts, Pulawa's operations were deeply rooted in Hawaii's tourism and real estate booms of the era. According to FBI case files, his network controlled off-track betting parlors and even infiltrated local unions, leveraging Hawaii's geographic isolation to avoid federal scrutiny for years. Yet Pulawa's story has remained largely untold in mainstream media. Hawaii's organized crime history has been systematically erased from public memory, says Dr. Keone Kanahele, a historian at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. It's not just about the mob, it's about how states' economy development was shaped by these shadow networks and how the legacy still lingers in land use disputes and corruption cases today. Pulawa wasn't just a gangster, he was a symptom of Hawaii's rapid modernization. The same forces that built Waikiki's resorts also paved the way for his operations. Dr. Keone Kanahele, University of Hawaii at Manoa. The director's involvement is no accident. Sources say has long been drawn to outside narratives from gangs of New York to the Irishman, and Pulawa's story fits his wheelhouse. But this project also reflects a broader shift in Hollywood, a growing appetite for crime stories that move beyond the Italian-American mob trope. Last time we saw a major studio tackle a non-Italian mob figure was Casino, and that was about Las Vegas, notes film critic David Edelstein. Pulawa's story is different because it's about organized crime in a place where the rules were never the same. Scorsese's script, developed with journalist Mark Felt, author of The Good Soldier, is reportedly 95% complete, with production slated for June or late 2027. The film will likely be shot in Hawaii, a move that could inject millions into the local economy, though whether it will also spark a reckoning with the state's untold history remains to be seen. Pulawa's operations weren't just a footnote in crime history. They left a mark on Hawaii's economy. A 2023 report from the Hawaii Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism found that organized crime syndicates in the 70s and 1980s siphoned an estimated $1.2 billion, adjusted for inflation, from tourism and real estate through kickbacks and protection schemes. That money, the report notes, could have funded infrastructure projects that Hawaii still lacks today. Martin Scorsese on Mean Streets, Raging Bull and The Irishman, and more. But the financial toll isn't the only lingering issue. Pulawa's connections to local unions and political figures created a culture of secrecy that still persists. You still see the same patterns in modern deals, land deals, and construction bids, says State Senator Kalani English. The difference is now it's dressed up as business development instead of racketeering. If you look at the way certain developers operate in Waikiki, you'll see echoes of the old mob playbook. The only difference is the scale, Senator Kalani English, Hawaii State Legislature. Risk glorifying. Not everyone is excited about Scorsese's project. Critics argue that focusing on Pulawa's crimes, a period of corruption that disproportionately harmed Hawaii's working class communities. We've moved past the mob era, says attorney Lani Kaulukukue. Why dredge up a story that's more about nostalgia than justice? Others point that Hollywood's fascination with mobs often overlooks the systemic issues that enable them. Pulawa's rise wasn't just about crime, it was about weak oversight and a lack of transparency in Hawaii's government, says Kanahele. If this film does nothing but expose that history, it will have served the purpose. Production on the film is expected to begin in late 2027, with Scorsese confirming in a recent interview that he wants to shoot in Hawaii to capture the raw, untamed energy of the 1970s. But the project's success hinges on whether it can balance our entertainment with historical reckoning. This isn't just a movie, it's a chance to force Hawaii to confront a part of the past, its past, it'd rather forget, says Edelstein. For the state tourism industry, the film could be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it could draw international attention and boost revenue. On the other hand, it risks overshadowing Hawaii's modern identity as a progressive, multicultural hub. We don't want to be defined by our mob history, says English, but we also cannot or can't ignore it. Scorsese's film arrives at a moment when organized crime's modern iterations from human trafficking to money laundering are resurfacing in unexpected places. A 2025 FBI report highlighted Hawaii as growing hub for transnational crime, with local gangs forming alliances with Asian and Latin American syndicates. Pulawa's story, then, isn't just about the past. It's a warning about how unchecked power can corrode even the most idyllic landscapes. The question isn't whether Scorsese's film will be a masterpiece. It's whether it will finally force Hawaii to ask how much of our present is still shaped by the shadows of the past.